Arapavan means half a sovereign. The film starts by showcasing the social contrasts within Kerala. Kalyani, known as Kalu, and her mother are in the process of making coir ropes. At this time, the marriage broker Ashan arrives. Subsequently, Kalu's father, Vedukadan Ramu, joins the group. Ashan brings up a marriage proposal for Kalu, naming the prospective groom as Paramu, son of the toddy tapper Krishnan. Simultaneously, in Paramu's home, he can be seen helping his mother prepare food. He is depicted as a poor individual with an innocent, childlike demeanor. Krishnan discusses the proposal for Kalu with Janaki. Expressing her belief that Ashan is dishonest, she then focuses on the financial aspect by asking about the dowry amount. Ashan and Ramu discuss the dowry, and Ramu makes it clear that his financial situation only allows him to offer 50 rupees or half a sovereign of gold. Ashan suggests a dowry of 50 rupees plus half a sovereign of gold. Ramu expresses his inability to afford that amount. However, Ashan reassures him that he will manage the arrangements. Upon reaching Krishnan's dwelling, Ashan finds himself in a bargaining session regarding the dowry. Ashan's cunning nature implies he has a strategy. Ashan communicates Ramu's dowry commitment of 50 rupees and half a sovereign of gold, underscoring its crucial role in the narrative. Janaki voices her opinion that Paramu is a suitable and perfect groom. Subsequently, Ashan proposes that they visit the bride and her family. Paramu's happiness is evident as he engages in conversation with his plants. Having arrived at Ramu's hut, they are now there to see Kalu. An agreement is reached regarding the marriage. Kalu's brother, Basi, has received an education. Despite his efforts, he hasn't been able to find employment. Furthermore, his father disapproves of him taking on any kind of manual work. Gopalan, a wealthy individual with a reputation as a womanizer, seeks to entice Kalu to fulfill his desires. Gopalan, in collaboration with his manager Rapel Mapilla, is deceptively planning to aid Kalu's family with her marriage, his true intention being to blackmail her later. Madhavi, who is married to Gopalan, is an educated woman known for her strong character. Pachu Pillai, known for his rowdy behavior, operates a tea shop and interacts with Ashan in a very rough manner. Amini, who is Pachu Pillai's sister and in love with Basi, urges him to take swift action to get Kalu married. As Kalu approaches, Amini and Basi stop their conversation. Amini then asks Kalu about her upcoming marriage, prompting Kalu to cry as she reveals their inability to pay the dowry. Kalu brings up the issue of caste disparity as she inquires about Amini's relationship with Basi. Amini firmly states that she will marry none other than Basi, regardless of any obstacles. Ramu and Lakshmi's savings, upon being counted, prove to be inadequate to cover the costs of the wedding and the required dowry. Basi comes back and informs them that his attempts to get financial assistance were unsuccessful. This news leaves everyone anxious about how they will manage the wedding arrangements for the following day. Offering a solution, Rapel comes and advises Ramu to seek financial help from Gopalan, proposing that their coir ropes serve as a form of repayment. Lakshmi expresses their need for 75 rupees. Seeking help, she goes to Gopalan, who gives her the money, effectively trapping them in a cycle of deep debt due to the interest. Madhavi emerges and offers Lakshmi a sari intended for Kalu to wear on the day of her wedding. Lakshmi issues an invitation for them to join the wedding celebration. As Lakshmi leaves, Gopalan yells at Madhavi for giving away the sari. Paramu and Kalu enter into marriage. When they arrive at Krishnan's residence, they are greeted in a formal and ceremonial manner. Janaki observes that Kalu is not wearing any gold ornaments and brings this lack of jewelry to Krishnan's notice. Krishnan responds that the present moment is unsuitable for that discussion and then dismisses Janaki. Madhavi takes on the role of president in the employees' union, while George, another young individual, assumes the position of secretary. Krishnan is in the process of leaving his room, with the intention of it being occupied by Paramu and Kalu. Fueled by anger, Janaki demands the gold before she will recognize Paramu and Kalu as husband and wife. Janaki conceives a scheme and summons Paramu. Once he's outside, she tells him that toddy is being pilfered from the coconut trees. Janaki asks Paramu to go and watch for toddy theft, but Paramu is hesitant to comply. Janaki explains that his brother Pithambaran is in poor health and Krishnan is advanced in age, therefore suggesting that Paramu is the one who should address the toddy theft problem. With a sigh of resignation, the poor Paramu agrees, says goodbye to his newly married wife, and walks away feeling sad. Kalu is left in tears. She spends the night sleeping beside Janaki. The next morning, Paramu arrives back and has a conversation with Kalu. Janaki then shouts at him, instructing him to go to work. Janaki's harsh words are also directed at Kalu, which causes Kalu to weep. Basi and Amini are engaged in a discussion. During their conversation, Basi reveals his wish to seek employment in a different place. Rapel, having become intoxicated, shares the news of Bossy and Amini's relationship with Pachu Pillai, who reacts with anger to this information. Bossy and Amini have another encounter, all the while Pachu Pillai was spying on them. Pachu Pillai launches an attack on Bossy, however, Amini manages to halt him. Pachu is utterly shocked by Amini's actions. He tells her that she is free to choose her life partner. Nevertheless, he feels immense dishonor, considering he raised her in the absence of their parents, and as a result, he declares his intention to end his life. Bossy turns and walks away after hearing Pachu's words. Amini, fearing the worst, runs after Pachu to prevent him from taking any extreme measures. Janaki notices Bossy sitting with a dejected expression. She inquires about his well-being and spots the tear in his shirt. At that very moment, Pachu Pillai walks in and declares his intent to kill Bossy. Ramu inquires about the reason for this threat, and Pachu states that Bossy met Amini during the night. Ramu argues to Pachu that if Amini was a willing participant in the meeting, then Bossy cannot be held fully accountable. You should first tell Amini to stop meeting Bossy. As soon as Pachu Pillai departs, Janaki turns her anger towards Bossy and scolds him. However, Ramu intervenes to pacify her. Ramu inquires of Bossy if the accusation is correct, and Bossy admits that it is. Ramu asks Bossy if he'd be okay with Kalu acting like this. Then he scolds Bossy for romancing instead of job hunting. The news Paramu brings, that Pachu Pillai struck Bossy, leaves Kalu in such a state of shock that she loses control of the mud pot she was carrying. Janaki observes the dropped pot and Kalu's distress, and in response, she hits Kalu, causing her to cry. Kalu expresses her desire to see Bossy, however, Janaki prevents her from doing so. Pachu's rage is directed at Amini. Meanwhile, Rapel Mapilla has a meeting with Pachu. Rapel suggests to Pachu that he should pardon Amini. However, Pachu remains troubled by Bossy's caste. With each passing day, Janaki's treatment of Kalu deteriorates. She seizes every occasion to vent her anger upon Kalu. Pachu Pillai gets in touch with Ashan to inquire about potential grooms for his sister, Amini. Gopalan and Rapel observe Amini. Rapel informs Gopalan that she is Pachu Pillai's sister. Gopalan and Rapel make an effort to engage Amini in conversation, but she displays a lack of interest. Under the cover of night, Paramu arrives to visit Kalu. He tries to rouse her by calling out her name through the window. Precisely at that time, Krishnan steps out of the house. His eyes fall upon someone near the windows. Believing the figure by the window to be a thief, Krishnan shouts loudly, waking everyone in the house. They then realize it is Paramu, who stands there, his head hung low in shame. Janaki blames that also on Kalu. She asks Krishnan to send her back to home and tells that accept her back only after getting the gold. The day after the incident, Krishnan escorts Kalu to Ramu's dwelling. He addresses Ramu in a rude manner, prompting Ramu to ask for an explanation. Krishnan then accuses Ramu of not fulfilling his commitment. Ramu, puzzled, asks which promise he is referring to. Krishnan clarifies that Ramu did not provide the agreed upon dowry. Ramu defends himself, saying he handed over 50 rupees. Following this, Krishnan raises the issue of the missing half-sovereign of gold. A look of shock spreads across Ramu's and his family's faces. He then clarifies that his offer was for either 50 rupees or half a sovereign of gold. Krishnan refutes Ramu's claim, maintaining that the dowry was to include both the 50 rupees and the half sovereign of gold. The argument intensifies, leading Krishnan to declare that Kalu will then live only with Ramu's family. Ramu retorts that he is perfectly fine with that and is fully capable of looking after his own daughter. The issue spirals further out of control. Bossy tries to intervene in the quarrel, advising Krishnan against making it a larger problem. To mediate the dispute, Bossy proposes to provide the half-sovereign of gold that Krishnan is demanding. Krishnan scoffs at Bossy's unemployed state and sarcastically inquires about the source of the gold. With determination, Bossy says he will exhaust all possibilities to secure the gold or the equivalent funds. Krishnan dismisses Bossy's offer and walks away, stating that it is not going to be acceptable. Bossy makes a solemn promise that he will not return home until he has earned the necessary money, and with this, he departs in search of employment. Upon returning home, Krishnan declares his intention to have Paramu marry another woman. Paramu firmly states that he will not marry anyone else. Paramu is met with scolding from everyone present. He can only stand there, feeling utterly helpless. Rapel Mapilla seeks out Amini at her home to tell her about the trouble Kalu is facing. Rapel informs Amini that Bossy has departed from the area. He further states that Bossy will not be returning. Although clearly shocked by the news, Amini tells Rapel to depart. Having arrived in a new town, Bossy inquired about job opportunities wherever he could, approaching various establishments and individuals. Unfortunately, his search yielded no employment. The separation weighs heavily on Paramu and Kalu, making them sad. Kalu seeks out Amini for a meeting, but Pachu Pillai observes this. He confronts Kalu, telling her to cease all contact with Amini and never to return to their home. Kalu turns and runs. Madhavi and George are engaged in a discussion concerning union matters. Gopalan has put in a request for an opportunity to address the members at the upcoming union meeting. Madhavi believes it would be a positive development if the issues could be resolved through this opportunity. While in the company of Pachu and Rappel, Gopalan returns home, sees Madhavi and George, and then behaves with a hint of arrogance towards George. Gopalan expresses his desire for Madhavi not to attend the union meeting, and she complies with his wishes. His scheme involves locking George in an old building with the assistance of Pachu. This is intended to ensure that Gopalan is the sole speaker, without any dissenting opinions or questions raised against him. Amidst the anticipation for Madhavi and George at the meeting, Rappel tells the people that Madhavi has betrayed their trust by not coming. Gopalan commences his speech at the meeting, but it does not resonate well with the attendees. Meanwhile, Pachu is also trying to create suspicion and distrust between the people and Madhavi. Unexpectedly, Madhavi appears at the meeting. Her speech is startling, as she reveals that Gopalan had asked her not to attend and had also locked up George. Gopalan attempts to interject during Madhavi's speech, but he is told to be silent. The revelation of his actions incites violence among the people, who physically manhandle Pachu and Rappel. The mob's anger extends to Gopalan, who was seated on the stage, and they attack him as well. Gopalan sustains injuries and is tended to by Madhavi. It turns out Madhavi became the union president. His plan was to control the union using her, but it didn't work. Displaying her frustration, Lakshmi is shouting at Kalu. Ramu returns home in a drunken state and initiates a fight with Lakshmi. Kalu sets out to the market with the coir ropes they had crafted, intending to sell them. However, on her journey, Rappel encounters her and seizes all the ropes, asserting that this action violates the agreement made with Gopalan. Seeing Kalu in that state, Amini takes her to her own house. She then takes a rupee from Pachu's box and gives it to Kalu. Pachu opens his storage box and finds that a sum of money is not there. He then contacts Amini by phone to ask her about its whereabouts. Amini explains that she had given the missing rupee to Kalu. This explanation irritates Pachu, who insists that she retrieve the money without delay. Amini states that retrieving the money is not possible and is met with a slap. Kalu, who was present outside the house, overheard the entire argument. In response, she left the money near the door and walked away. Under the cover of night, Paramu waits anxiously for Kalu. Losing hope that she will come, he is moments away from taking his own life by hanging himself. Just as Paramu was about to take his own life, Kalu arrives and sees the scene. Overwhelmed by the depth of Paramu's love for her, she begins to cry. The toddy tappers are engaged in a strike action. Pachu Pillai announces his intention to bring in laborers from outside the region. Madhavi intervenes, stating that the union workers will not idly stand by and warns Gopalan to seek a compromise with the union. An individual rushes to Lakshmi, delivering the news that Ramu has fallen from a tree. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately runs towards the hospital where Ramu has been taken. Krishnan, however, scolds Paramu sharply and tells him to dismiss the thought entirely. Paramu is visibly saddened by this reaction. His brother tries to console him. Kalu and her family are facing severe financial difficulties. They are struggling to afford even basic sustenance, making the cost of Ramu's treatment an impossible burden. In a moment of realization, Kalu remembers the gold nuptial chain she possesses. Deciding to sell it, she takes her younger brother Balan with her. Rappel points out to Gopalan that this situation presents a perfect opportunity to visit Kalu's home. Having reached Kalu's home, they call her name. Gopalan then instructs Rappel to go and purchase cigarettes. Subsequently, Gopalan tries to make unwanted advances towards Kalu. Kalu bravely resists his attempts and manages to injure him. Witnessing this, Balan also attacks Gopalan, who is then forced to run away. Determined to fulfill his promise, Basi is undertaking all available menial work to gather the 50 rupees he needs. Exploiting the situation, Gopalan calls Paramu with the intention of poisoning his mind against Kalu. Madhavi urges Paramu not to give credence to Gopalan's words. Paramu goes to Kalu. He finds out she sold the wedding chain he gave her and was heartbroken. Having been discharged from the hospital, Ramu returns home. He notices that Balan has sustained an injury. Balan's explanation is that Pachu Pillai hit him for taking lotuses from the pond. Ramu, still recovering, feels helpless and depressed that he lacks the strength to confront Pachu Pillai. Facing their financial difficulties, Lakshmi suggests that Kalu try to borrow some money from Madhavi. Noticing Kalu's arrival, Rappel and Gopalan quickly formulate a plan to ensnare her, and Gopalan proceeds inside. Kalu says she came to borrow some money from Madhavi. Repel goes inside, takes 5 rupees from Gopalan, and gives it to her. Repel tells Kalu that Madhavi wants to meet her and directs her inside. However, Kalu strikes Gopalan on the head and flees. Madhavi witnesses her escape. Madhavi asks Repel what's going on. Repel replies that Kalu wanted to borrow money from Madhavi, but Gopalan said he didn't have it. Repel further explains that Gopalan was hurt by a falling object. Madhavi hurries to attend to him. After reaching home, Kalu handed the money to Lakshmi. Following this, Lakshmi gives Balan and provided him with a list of items to purchase. Balan went to the shop and bought everything on the list. However, when he paid, the shopkeeper discovered the banknote was counterfeit and took back all the items Balan had purchased. After Balan's return and explanation, Lakshmi proposed that he go and meet Madhavi, considering the possibility of an honest mistake. Balan found Gopalan, Repel, and Madhavi at Gopalan's home. His news that Madhavi gave him the note made her suspicious of Gopalan and Repel. As Madhavi went in to fetch the money, Repel led Balan away. Upon Madhavi's return, she inquired about Balan's whereabouts from Gopalan, who feigned ignorance. A warning hung in Madhavi's voice as she said she would uncover everything. Balan returned and explained what had occurred to Ramu. Following this, Ramu questioned Kalu about who provided her with the funds. Kalu revealed to him the details of the trap orchestrated by Repel and Gopalan. Ramu was unconvinced. He then pressed her on how she acquired the money. Ramu's suspicions about her character grew. He then stated to her that he did not have a daughter. Seeing Janaki cry from back pain, Krishnan instructed Paramu to go and bring Kalu back immediately. Janaki raised her concerns, but Krishnan convinced her, explaining that the past is over, and their focus should be on what's to come. Paramu rushes to bring Kalu back. Meanwhile, Repel approaches Janaki. He says Kalu and Gopalan are having some illicit relationship and he gave money to Kalu. Bossy needs 2 more rupees to have 50 rupees. Paramu needed to travel to town for a few days. Just before his departure, Kalu shared the joyful news of her pregnancy, which filled Paramu with immense happiness. Balan asked Lakshmi for food, but there was nothing available. He then drank some water. Bossy finally accumulated 50 rupees. Kalu was showing signs of pregnancy. Janaki told Krishnan that Kalu was pregnant with Gopalan's child. The fact that Kalu and Paramu have been meeting secretly is unknown to them. They refused to listen to Kalu and had Pithambaran take her home. Lakshmi asked for an explanation of the situation. Pithambaran's response was that Kalu had brought dishonor to his family. Like others, Lakshmi and Ramu assumed Gopalan was the father of Kalu's baby. Their minds were made up, and they wouldn't listen to her side of the story. Ramu expressed his harsh judgment, stating she was a very disgusting person. Overwhelmed by his words, Kalu cried. As this conversation unfolded, Bossy arrived and listened to it all. Joining the others, Bossy also reprimanded Kalu. As Bossy started to interrogate Kalu, Ramu spoke up in her defense, stating that Bossy had forfeited any right to ask questions due to his lack of care for her. Bossy stated that his trip to town was solely to acquire the balance of her dowry. With that, he threw the money at her face. Gopalan was unavailable when Bossy went to see him. However, Madhavi was present, and Bossy explained to her Gopalan's exploitative actions towards Kalu. Driven to despair by the relentless mistrust, Kalu was about to take her own life. Fortunately, Balan reached her in time and intervened. Repel let Gopalan know Kalu was at her home. In response, Gopalan asked Repel to bring Kalu to his vacant home. Kalu said she wouldn't go, but Repel tried to take her anyway. Balan attacked Repel. At that moment, some policemen saw what happened and arrested Repel. Upon reaching his residence, Gopalan encountered Bossy. An argument ensued, after which Bossy departed. After this, Repel was brought in by the police. He then exposed the truth, stating that Gopalan had directed him to take Kalu to the vacant house. However, Gopalan vehemently denied the accusations, instead placing the blame squarely on Repel and making his escape. Madhavi intervened, promising the police that she would bring Repel to the station herself, and the police accepted this arrangement, foregoing an immediate arrest. Repel revealed all the details of the incident to Madhavi. Gopalan alerted Pachu and his men, stating that Bossy had returned and had insulted him. Pachu says he will take care of everything. They all go searching for Bossy. Repel informs Ramu about Pachu's plan to hurt Bossy. In Ramu's eyes, Kalu was the origin of all their problems, and he went so far as to tell her that death would be a better fate for her. Ramu sprinted to assist Bossy. Devastated by Ramu's words, Kalu began to plan her suicide. In the interim, Paramu arrived back at his residence and became aware of all the events that had transpired. He disclosed to Lakshmi and Krishnan that Kalu was carrying his child, highlighting that they had ruined a girl's life for something as insignificant as half a sovereign of gold. Paramu ran to where Kalu was, and there he found her lying on the floor. Seeking revenge, Ramu went to Gopalan's home and assaulted him. However, Madhavi and Gopalan were able to stop Ramu's attack. Then, Balan came running with terrible news: Kalu had drunk poison. Upon hearing this, Ramu immediately ran. Gopalan tried to prevent Madhavi from leaving with Ramu. However, Madhavi declared her unwavering intention to go, placing the blame squarely on Gopalan. She added that she would go even if it meant the end of their marriage. Rapel advised Gopalan to release Madhavi, crudely suggesting that he could replace her with any number of girls like Amini. Basi came under attack from thugs dispatched by Pachu. While returning home, Ramu observed the assault and intervened, fighting the goons and rescuing Basi. Madhavi fetched a doctor to attend to Kalu. Rapel encountered Pachu and provided him with some funds, stating that Gopalan had intended it for Pachu to use at the toddy shop. He said Gopalan had gone to see Amini. Pachu gets incredibly angry and takes off running to save her. Gopalan was present at Amini's residence. He attempted to entice her and then proposed marriage, but Amini turned him down. Gopalan attempted to make amorous advances towards her. Consumed by anger, Pachu reached the scene and attacked Gopalan with a dagger, causing him injury. Amini halted Pachu's attempt to kill Gopalan, after which Gopalan managed to escape. Amini's cries, voicing her fear of being left alone if Pachu was arrested, triggered a wave of regret in him for his behavior. The fear of leaving his sister alone with Gopalan consumed his thoughts. Without warning, he walked out, taking her hand and pulling her along. As Kalu's eyes fluttered open, Lakshmi and Krishnan expressed their remorse to her. Madhavi rebuked them, saying they had almost caused a girl's death for a paltry half a sovereign of gold, and she would give them the gold. Paramu, however, said there was no need for anything, declaring that Kalu's worth was infinitely greater than gold. As this was happening, Pachu arrived with Amini. He apologized to Basi and, in a gesture of reconciliation, gave Basi Amini's hand. He earnestly begged Ramu for his blessing, and Ramu, though initially hesitant, finally gave his approval. With the intention of going to the police station, Pachu was about to leave when Gopalan appeared. He told Pachu that he didn't need to go to the police station, stating that he would not be complaining. He unburdened himself to Madhavi by confessing his sins. Gopalan humbled himself and begged for everyone's forgiveness. With his apology accepted by all, the movie concluded on a positive and happy note.